Staples Canada tackles the million-ton e-waste crisis. A German model is 200% faster than DeepSeek. Scientists create the first quantum operating system. And the AI job crisis. Who are you going to believe? Sam Altman or your lying eyes? Welcome to Hashtag Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. I can't believe I'm saying back to school already, but as retailers prepare for back to school shopping, Staples Canada has launched a solution that tackles two problems at once: the financial strain of buying new tech and Canada's mounting electronic waste crisis. The new Staples trade-in program lets Canadians exchange old smartphones, laptops, and tablets for instant gift cards. And for consumers who might be a little freaked out about the economic uncertainty and grappling with increasing costs, the idea of being able to trade in older electronics has an appeal. But there's an added benefit: grappling with nearly 1 million tons of annual e-waste created in Canada alone. New research from the University of Waterloo reveals that Canada's electronic waste has more than tripled in the last 2 decades, jumping from 8.3 kilograms per person in 2000 to 25.3 kilograms in 2020. By 2030, Canadians are expected to generate 1.2 million tons of e-waste annually, equivalent to filling the CN Tower 110 times. Rachel Huckle, CEO of Staples Canada, says the company is committed to making it easier for consumers to access the latest technology in a smarter and more sustainable way. The program addresses what researchers call Canada's forgotten repair culture, where functional devices are discarded simply for newer models. Customers answer a few questions online about their device's condition and receive an immediate quote. Once accepted, they get a Staples e-gift card redeemable immediately at any one of Canada's 298 Staples locations. The old devices can either be dropped off at their local store or shipped directly to Allstate, Staples' partner in the program, using a prepaid label. Allstate Protection Plans powers what the company calls a circular economy enablement, handling everything from device valuation to certified refurbishment and responsible recycling. That's a win-win for customers' wallets and the planet. Staples joins a small group of retailers that are tackling e-waste head-on. However, few major retailers have integrated trade-in value with immediate purchasing power the way Staples have. The program launches as back-to-school spending peaks, when families are most likely to upgrade devices for students. It makes old tech immediately convertible to purchasing power at a time when families need it most. And as a person with a basement full of tech too good to throw out but with no place to see it reused, this is a good idea. The AI world is buzzing after a 24-year-old German consulting firm just dropped what developers are calling a holy smokes level of innovation. If you remember the sensation caused by the launch of Chinese AI DeepSeek, which provided an open-source AI with full weights, in essence pre-trained, that ran on what, compared to ChatGPT or others, was a tiny hardware profile, developers claimed that while training costs of ChatGPT and similar models could be between $70 and $100 million, they'd done all the training for under $6 million. But you don't need to worry about that even, because they shipped the model with its weightings, or the training, intact. And the processing costs of this model were a small fraction of the larger frontier models. It was and remains a bit of a miracle. The U.S. embargo restricted the Chinese on how much and what kind of GPUs they could buy. Well, they made a virtue out of the problem and delivered what might be the most efficient and cheapest frontier model. And as the commercial says, it's open source. You can't save more money than free. So where does anyone go from there? Well, TNG Technology Consulting, a Munich-based firm, has released a new version of DeepSeek, TNG R1 T2 Chimera, and it's reportedly, wait for it, 200% faster than DeepSeek's latest R10528 while maintaining 90% of its intelligence. And did I mention they're giving it away for free? While OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic battle for billions in funding, TNG Technology Consulting, a Munich-based firm with 800 employees, just demonstrated that breakthrough AI innovation doesn't require Silicon Valley budgets. The secret weapon? A technique called assembly of experts. It merges the best part of multiple AI models without expensive retraining. There's a lot of hype in this business, but the excitement appears at least somewhat justified. R1T2 not only is free, not only is fast, but it achieves this speed boost by generating responses using just 40% of the tokens required by its predecessors. And tokens are the essential unit of processing, meaning dramatically lower costs and faster responses. TNG's breakthrough comes from thinking differently about AI development. Instead of training massive models from scratch, their assembly of experts method selectively combines the reasoning power of DeepSeek R10528, the structured thinking of the original R1, and the efficiency of their V30324. The result is a model engineered to maintain high reasoning capability while significantly reducing inference cost, inference being the process that happens after the prompt. Some have called it automotive engineering applied to AI. Rather than building a completely new engine, they've created a hybrid that gets the performance of a V8 with the efficiency of a four-cylinder. Now, this isn't just about bragging rights. The model maintains elite performance on advanced reasoning tests, scoring between 90 and 92% of R10528's results on mathematical and graduate level problems, while slashing operational costs. For enterprises, this translates into running a sophisticated AI application at a fraction of the expense. The timing is particularly striking as major tech companies are announcing massive AI infrastructure investments. Microsoft is planning $80 billion in AI spending for 2025, while Amazon is committing similar amounts. Meanwhile, TNG achieved this breakthrough using existing models and clever engineering. TNG is releasing R1T2 under an MIT license, meaning any company can use, modify, and deploy it commercially without licensing fees. The decision puts pressure on big tech firms charging premium rates for AI access. Why pay thousands monthly for API calls when you can run comparable intelligence on your own infrastructure? Over to you, Silicon Valley. And if you've been around IT long enough, you know that computers made their way into common business usage when they had operating systems that provided much needed interfaces between machine and programs. It happened with mainframe computers, it happened with mini or departmental computers, and most of us of a certain age remember MS-DOS, the operating system that Bill Gates and company developed that powered the PC revolution. Well, something similar has happened for quantum computers. An international research team has announced that they built the brain for quantum machines as they unveiled QNodeOS, the world's first operating system designed specifically for quantum computers. The breakthrough, published in Nature, could finally bridge the gap between quantum computing's theoretical promise and practical applications, enabling different types of quantum computers to communicate seamlessly for the first time. Until now, quantum computers have been like brilliant but isolated scientists, each speaking a different language and unable to collaborate. QNodeOS solves this fundamental problem by creating a universal translator that allows diverse quantum technologies, from diamond-based systems to trapped ion processors, to work together in networks. QNodeOS operates through two integrated processing units that work like a tag team. There's the classical network processing unit, and that handles traditional computing tasks and program execution, while the quantum network processing unit manages the exotic quantum operations like entanglement, and superposition. Together, they control quantum devices through a unified interface. The key innovation is what they're calling the Q driver, a sophisticated translator that converts universal commands into specific instructions for each type of quantum hardware. Think of it as creating a common language that lets quantum computers built with completely different technologies understand each other. And the researchers demonstrated QNodeOS's capabilities by connecting it to two fundamentally different quantum systems, one based on nitrogen vacancy centers in diamond and another using trapped ions. These systems work as differently as a Formula One race car and a submarine, and yet QNodeOS enabled them to coordinate seamlessly. This breakthrough addresses a critical limitation that's kept quantum computing largely confined to research labs. Previous quantum systems required physicists to write custom code for each specific experimental setup, like having to rewire your computer every time you wanted to run a different program. QNodeOS changes this by enabling high-level programming just like Windows or Android do for classical computers. Developers can now focus on creating applications rather than wrestling with hardware complexities. The Quantum Internet Alliance plans to deploy QNodeOS on their Quantum Network Explorer, providing researchers worldwide access to experiment with quantum networking. This could accelerate development of applications we can barely imagine today, from ultra-secure communications to distributed quantum computing that could solve problems currently impossible for any classical computer. Now, there are still challenges. The researchers are working to integrate processing units onto a single board to eliminate a millisecond delay that currently limits performance. They're also developing long-distance protocols and error correction methods essential for practical quantum networks. So we've all wondered when quantum computing might be able to solve real-world problems. By solving the interoperability problem, researchers have created the foundation for a future quantum internet that could revolutionize cryptography, chemistry, optimization, and maybe even stuff we haven't yet discovered. There will be areas where some jobs go away, or maybe there'll be some whole categories of jobs that go away. That's OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman admitting the obvious in a recent podcast. But then, when asked if he agreed with Anthropic's CEO Dario Amodei's warning that 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs could disappear within 5 years, Altman said he disagreed. His chief operating officer, Brad Lightcap, was even more dismissive, claiming OpenAI has no evidence that companies are wholesale replacing entry-level jobs with AI. And they talk to a lot of companies, according to Brad. Really? Obviously, he doesn't listen to this podcast. But really, does he actually listen to the news? This week, Amazon CEO Andy Jassy told his 1.5 million employees in a memo, "We need fewer people doing some of the jobs that are being done today, and more people doing other types of jobs." But that's a little sugarcoating. He was brutally honest. In the next few years, we expect that this will reduce our total corporate workforce as we get efficiency gains from using AI extensively across the company. Amazon has already cut 27,000 jobs since 2022. But Jassy isn't alone. Microsoft has laid off over 15,000 employees in 2025 alone, including their director of AI, apparently to free up $80 billion for AI infrastructure investments. But think about that. The company that created a way to take ChatGPT to market is cutting people to pay for the very technology that might replace them. And CEO Satya Nadella is saying that about 30% of their code is being generated by AI. If you go through a list of other major CEOs, you'll hear similar stories. From Salesforce saying that about 50% of their work could be done by AI, to social media's Meta, it's the same story. Which brings us to the other guy, Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei, who delivered perhaps the starkest warning yet, telling Axios that AI could eliminate half of all entry-level white-collar jobs within 5 years. A move, he said, could cause unemployment to spike to between 10 and 20%. His message to lawmakers? Most of them are unaware that this is about to happen. It sounds crazy, and people don't believe it. Now, you can claim Amodei is mistaken. You can claim that he's wrong, even though his company is on the leading edge of delivering some of the work-replacing agents with a variety of partners. And he admits he's nothing to gain from this prediction. Actually, he probably has a lot to lose if there's a backlash against AI because of what he said. And that brings us back to OpenAI's Sam Altman. Is he really telling the whole truth? Some claim he's changed his story from time to time. When Senator Gary Peters confronted Altman about his private comment that upwards of 70% of jobs could be eliminated by AI, Altman just emphasized helping people become more productive. But his corporate customers are telling a different story. And this isn't theoretical anymore. Besides the tech losses, there are some other indicators. By some reports, January 2025 saw the lowest job openings in professional services since 2013, a 20% year-over-year drop. Research shows that 40% of white-collar job seekers in 2024 failed to secure interviews, while high-paying positions hit decade-low hiring levels. It doesn't mean we're there yet, but it does mean that the signs are there. So the disconnect is striking. While other tech leaders are warning of impending white-collar job crises and actively reducing their workforces, the CEO of the company creating the most advanced AI remains publicly optimistic about job creation. But some could claim that Altman has every reason to soft pedal the impacts. He wants to drive full steam ahead. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to believe that the U.S. government might not be telling us the truth either, as they reportedly look to decimate government ranks using AI, but they desperately want to get AI implemented before China does. Even those who claim there will be big disasters as companies and governments overreach the ability of technology and have disastrous implementations, they're right. Every time we've had a major development in technology, we've made big mistakes, and somehow we muddle on and fix them. But we can fix systems, and we might even be able to fix business problems. But what we might not be able to fix is the social and societal impacts. And if you think there's a huge resentment caused by outsourcing and automation in the past decades, wait till you see what happens if youth unemployment were to hit the levels Amodei predicts. COVID unemployment was only about 13%, and that was devastating. Amodei is talking about 20% youth unemployment. We won't stop the onrush of AI. That's not going to happen. We will have huge problems, some disasters, and potentially a huge upending of even our economic system. We can't stop it. But even if we can't stop it, we can try to adapt to what's going to happen. And in doing that, we're entitled to some straight talk from those who know what's really happening. We deserve it. And that's our show. Glad to be back with the news. We'll have a shorter work week sometimes over the summer and some repeat programming on some weekends. But we're back and bringing you the tech news. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a marvelous Monday.